So we're going to start with just a review of the mission. So what is FireNet? Let me just go ahead and move this over here. And feel free to ask questions during the presentation again. And I'm going to probably run through the presentation, and then we'll have at least 15 minutes at the end to answer questions, and everybody will get a chance to chime in there or make sure hopefully I've covered everything. You can just use the little questions icon, which most of you have found, by letting me know which positions you're in, so I can try to gear some little pointers in this presentation to you. So we're going to talk about the mission. We're going to look at FireNet.gov, our website. We're going to talk about the different apps in FireNet. We're going to talk about FireNet accounts and the provisioning process, as well as support. So what is the goal of FireNet? What's the mission? So the goal is to bring together the Forest Service, DOI, and affiliates so that everybody can communicate and collaborate in a single system. And from that, we've also kind of come up with a second really main goal, which is to remove the need to put sensitive data on free Google accounts. So in our community, you know, the Gmail accounts are created on an incident, for example, or in dispatch centers. So what FireNet.gov is, it's just a Google platform, but it's a secure one and it's a government one. So there's not a huge learning curve as far as you know, figuring out the system. Once we get you logged in and in there, it's going to be the same thing as working in a regular Gmail account. There's also something called Vault in Google, and this automatically archives our information. So whether it's email or it is Team Drive, for example, that Vault information will be accessible to our data record folks. And then to operate from a single authoritative web presence, so that is FireNet.gov. So if you have to find information on FireNet, that's where we want you to go. And then to integrate applications and authentication over time. So we talk about this single system collaboration. So what is that really? That's pretty much what the apps allow us to do. When I say apps, I'm talking about email and Drive and Docs and Spreadsheet and Forms. Those are examples of things that we're going to look at today that you can use to collaborate. We have the capability to not only email, but to share documents. We have a Team Drive that we do sharing on, calendaring, instant messaging, video presence, screen sharing, and the best part of Team Drive is unlimited storage. So again, no need for a commercial Google account. You can do all the things that are currently being done on private commercial free accounts, but it's secure. We've got two-step verification set up, and accounts are monitored. So it's just a safe Google environment. The automatic archive, Google Vault provides e-discovery for all records, provides legal hold and matter management in the vault, and it will be used for incident management and NARA guidelines. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the actual email being used. There will be a Team Drive created on incidents that we'll talk about towards the end of the presentation that will be there if you wish to use it. But our real focus is to get people using the FireNet.gov email account and to follow your normal procedures as far as where you're storing information and data and how those processes. So FireNet website, I can actually we'll jump over to the website now, but I joke that now I can tell if you start to do something else on your screen, I get a little like warning on my attendees panel. But now is where I want you to go, because that means you can go check out the website and you can walk through it with me, or you can just follow along on the screen. So here is FireNet.gov. Once you get here, if you're looking for a link to log in, you can always just go to FireNet.gov. And we're going to talk about a few different ways to log in. But if you're ever not sure, just go ahead to www.firenet.gov and you can grab the button here on the bottom. Most of the information that we're going to talk about today is going to be under the FireNet platform. So once you get there, this is pretty much your FireNet homepage. Again, the FireNet button is down here on the bottom. And a question that we get is, okay, I have my login information, but like, where's FireNet? So it's really just a Google system, and I'm going to show you that. So if I click the FireNet login button, for example, pretty much it's just going to myaccount.google.com. So me personally, if I just want to get to my account, I'm just going to go to google.com. And here's where you're going to know where you are. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, and this gets confusing, and Google is not too helpful. So as you can see, I have this purple T, and I'm going to scroll over it. So now I can see that I'm in Tara_Taylor at firenet.gov, and that was just because I was logged in. If you use that FireNet button, it's just going to bring you to my account page. Most people have some type of Gmail account on their computer right now. And how you can switch between those accounts and add new accounts is to go ahead and I'm going to select the purple T just by clicking on it. And now I can see all my Gmail accounts that I've logged into in this Chrome browser. And just to add, Chrome is the recommended browser that's used for FireNet. Everything plays better in Chrome. So right down here, I have Add Account and Sign Out. And these buttons are going to become useful to you if you need to add an account. So if you haven't figured out how to log in yet, you can go ahead and add account here on the bottom left. And then you would put in your login information that was sent to you from the Better Cloud system, is the system that we use to kind of bulk upload our users. There is a green button on that welcome email that's not ours, so just don't click the green button. Just follow the instructions in that welcome email. Or you can just come here where I've shown you and add account, and I would just put in the username that I'm sent and the password that I'm sent, and then I would change that password. At the same time, we're going to set up two-step verification. So if you have not gotten this far, or you may want to go ahead and check it with me right now, because what happens is Google bounces you out to a default account. It kind of picks. Right now, it's not telling me any of my accounts are defaulted, but sometimes it can pick a default account and it logs you into that. So let me just show you this. This is super easy. There is the information's on the website and it's in your welcome email, but you can also just come, and I'm just going to say Google two-step verification. And my first hit is Google two-step verification. So you should have seen this page and gone to getting started. So what happens here is, even if I started in my FireNet account, sometimes it'll unknowingly, it would have switched my account. So if you have a Bison Connect account or another Gmail account set up, it'll switch to that account and you will not know it. So if maybe you're getting messages that say, hey, your account might be suspended, you haven't set up two-step verification, and you're thinking, I know I set up two-step verification, it may have actually bounced you to a default account. So once you get here, you just want to check to make sure that your default account, that the account that you want to set it up on, your FireNet account, is still selected when you get here. We won't go that far. So then you click Get Started, and you're going to put in your information. So you'll put in your cell phone information, and then a code will be sent to you that you'll put in to confirm. You can tell the computer to save that confirmation for 30 days, but that's used to protect your account, and that's the part of our authority to operate and be able to use this platform as a government Google website. We have to do that step. So another thing that people can run into during two-step verification or when they're trying to access different things in FireNet is it signs you off. So I was just working with a dispatcher that was getting their expanded account set up, and he was trying to get it set up and he was getting error messages. So when that happens, if it signs you off or says you don't have access, but but somebody sent you to this place to do something, that means you probably do have access. But what's happening is it's pulling from that default account. So if that happens, just sign out of everything. So if you try to access a Team Drive, for example, and it says you don't have access, but somebody sent it to you, you probably do have access, but when you click on it, Google decided to use your other account. So by signing out of all other accounts, then you can just sign in to one account. So the same if people have personal email accounts that are popping up when they want to be in FireNet. Then sometimes if it gets too confusing, I just recommend if you're going to be using FireNet a lot, just log in on Chrome to FireNet and do some of your other business in a different browser. It does get easier to toggle in between once everything is set up. But if there's too many accounts, it starts to get a little bit confused, and it will log you out and put you in this little circle of failure. That sounds so sad that you need to just sign out of everything and sign into the one account. All right, so you are in FireNet and your two-step verification is set up. So let's go ahead and we're gonna visit the website and look at some different apps, but I want to show you first how you're gonna find those apps. So on this main screen, so this could be anywhere. I'm still on my two-step verification screen, but let me just go to google.com. So here I am, and I'm logged into FireNet. I can tell by scrolling over. So that means when I click on these little icons, I can find all the different apps. And these are what we're going to talk about today. You'll see by default, Mail is there. But then there's also all these different Drive, Docs, Sheet, Site, Calendar. So these are all available to us. So let's go visit our website where we were. So this is the FireNet portal home. This is where you registered for the webinar. And there's some key pages here. So requesting an account. If you've made it this far, hopefully you're all set up with your account. But if by the end of this session you think, I think so-and-so on my team should have an account, she mentioned this position, I want to check, this is where you want to send people, because the form is available and they can just follow the steps if they have a PIV card or if they don't, and then how to sponsor an affiliate. So if you have a PIO that's an AD and they need to have an account set up, if they're on your team, you could sponsor them and say, hey, this is the person that's this position on the team, and all that information is right here in how to sponsor an affiliate. And even for my dispatch folks, if you have expanded people that are going to be in your center, and we'll talk a little bit more about dispatch center setup, we encourage you to get them in the system. So they fill out the required security training and the regular form that everybody fills out. So they'll be in the system and they can be ready to take on a FireNet account. Next up is FireNet features. So these are all those apps that we just talked about. And I'm just going to show you the basic setup of the of each of the different of the applications pages. And what I talked about earlier, this is kind of our My Account page, or if you just go to google.com, down here on the bottom, it'll just remind you if you forget something that that you can access it from here. Just a little note, if things move a little bit fast today, we're hoping next Thursday to have a virtual hands-on workshop, so you'll actually be able to, add information to a form and see it populate somewhere, and work in a document together and save it in Team Drive. So we'll be able to work together in that setting. So we're hoping to do that next week, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end. But I just don't want anybody to feel overwhelmed that we're speeding along, because you'll have a chance to do a little more hands-on work if that sounds like something that's your speed. So from this page, I'm going to go to Mail, for example. Now each FireNet feature is set up the same. The first section is going to be a video training series, and it's kind of training / troubleshooting series. And the second section is G Suite Learning Center. So the first one is going to be specific basic things and then specific things to the FireNet community. They're short videos that are, you know, 1 minute to 2 minutes long, just covering the issue that you need help with. The G Suite Learning Center is just it's a Google learning area, and they use pictures and beautiful pictures and kind of simple steps, and those are really easy to follow as well. So our main level of support is going to be to come to the website and explore. If you're having trouble with one of these issues, you can come to the FireNet features page, or you can go right to the video training series. So under information, FireNet video training series, and then each different app is highlighted. And then there's a video. Opening your inbox, so someone's like, okay, how do I find this email address? Delegating an inbox, which we're going to talk about. So these are just quick little videos to assist you in troubleshooting. Also on that information page, troubleshooting account setup. So if you're having trouble actually getting set up with your account, frequently asked questions, some business process documentation for those with additional questions kind of about the process and background. And then the two that we're going to talk about today and that are towards the end of the presentation that are going to be important for you is the dispatch center account setup and incident account setup pages. So let's jump back over presentation here. We've talked about FireNet features, troubleshooting, and then the training series. So now we're going to jump into the actual apps themselves, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown of some of the most popular ones. So I'm going to come here, and I'm just going to go to, if you're like, where's my account? Google.com is my background, so I can just go there. Mail we've talked about, so this is just your email, and we do have the case of accounts that need to be delegated. So in FireNet, there are not. Let me just go to the mail page from here. So in FireNet, there's no sharing of accounts like there is in a Gmail account. So in a Gmail account where you just share the password with 25 people, there's really no security there. And FireNet is set up so individuals have accounts and they're associated with an account. There can be group accounts that one person is the steward for, so they kind of set up the password and the two-step verification, but then they can delegate their inbox. And I just wanted to show you what this looks like in email. So I'm in my Tara_Taylor at FireNet email account. And then if I scroll down here, you can see there's a new email address there, and that's only there because I'm in the account that it's delegated to. So I can go to this FireNet admin account because it's been delegated to me. So I don't have password information for it. Can't get to their My Drive or anything. It's just their inbox, and I can do business from that inbox. So that's delegating an account and something that we'll see being heavily used because it's the way to get around sharing passwords. The people that you delegate that account to do need a FireNet account. So if you're a plan's section chief or PIO and you envision wanting a main inbox and you have other people on your team that you think you're going to want to access that inbox, we want to go ahead and get them set up with FireNet accounts. So let's go next to documents. So we have documents and sheets which kind of function similarly. So it's like our Word and our Excel, for example. And in documents, you can use these to collaborate. So if I create a new document, I can work in here and I can share it with different people that can also come in here and work. So let me say, so this is my test demo doc. Once my title's updated there, I'm going to move it somewhere. So this is where you're going to store your document. So I'm going to put it somewhere. Let's say I have a Team Drive, and we're going to visit Team Drive in a second. Let's just go put that document there. I'm going to go to Team Drive. All right, so I just moved that there, and ownership will be transferred to FireNet.gov. So I moved it to a team drive, so that means that FireNet.gov now owns the team drive, which we're going to talk about. So this is my document, and we're going to go find it in Team Drive, but I just want to show you, you can also, so you can add comments and actually chat within a document as well. There's different levels of editing that can happen, but if you can have, you'll see when other people are working in your document up here on the top kind of open nav space. But let's go visit our document. So it's in Drive. So you may be invited to a team drive. So you may be invited to your dispatch center team drive by your center manager, or you may be invited to an incident team drive, or you may be invited to an IMT team drive. So a lot of times we're finding that where somebody used to use an actual email account, there's not always a need because a lot of the collaboration just happens on the team drive. Team drives are set up very laterally, so they don't really live under other people. So I may set a team drive up as a dispatcher, or my center manager may set one up. If we're both owners, it doesn't really matter who set it up because it's a very lateral setup. It's just everybody's in it, and it belongs to FireNet. So let's go jump in there. So to get to my drive, I'm just gonna, so you'll see I just open a new window, and then google.com is my default browser. So that's how I just go to, that's how I always pop to my different Google apps. So I'm gonna click Drive. If we have some Bison Connect folks on the line, this might look familiar to you on the top left anyway. So my drive is just an area, it's more your space to do things in, and it has a limited amount of storage. Team Drive is owned by FireNet, and that has unlimited storage. So let me just go and jump in there. I usually don't check questions, but I'm going to answer this one. So like, what if you need to delegate a drive or a calendar? So I'm going to show you that process right now. So we have our testing team drive. So you may say, if you want to create a new team drive, if you're the plan section chief and you want to get one started for your team, or a center manager and you want to get one started for your center, you're just going to say new. I'm going to name it, and then I would click create. I'm just going to jump into this testing team drive. So to share your team drives, we talked about delegating. Delegating is that we use that word for email purposes. With team drive, we're just going to add members. So I can add members to my team drive. So if I'm a center manager, I may come here and add my dispatcher. If I'm a plan section chief, I'm going to add those people maybe on my either incident or team that are working in this collaboration space. So when you add a member to team drive, you can add them with full access, edit access, comment, or view. And you can see on the screen there what each of the different ones mean. And when you set this at the top level, the way it's currently set up is when you set the top level, that's how the rest of the drive works. So if I add a file to this drive, it's going to take on these main level settings. It's not like my drive where you can change settings per folder. So it's very main high level focused right now. There's a little talk within Google in the pipeline. I think maybe they got feedback that users preferred how my drive works, where you could actually control the folder, but we don't have that here right now. So when you add somebody, you just want to be careful, because you can demote. No, you can't demote. You can give them additional access. So if I add everybody as view, so I give say maybe you have a big group of people that you want to add to this drive, but you don't really want everybody editing everything. So you can add them as view, but then you can give them additional permission. So let's see here. So let's add, and I'm just going to add, I'm I'm going to go ahead and add my DOI email address. So if you're a center manager, for example, and you've got some CLM accounts or NPS accounts in your center, those can be used to collaborate. You just add them just like you would add somebody with a FireNet account. So let me jump into this document here just to show you how the privileges work. This is just a document that's sitting in my drive, and I click share. So I just want to see who has access to it, which means everybody in my drive is going to have access. And they actually all have edit access. So if I want to demote them, I can't. So if I set somebody up with like that account that I just set up, let's go back and just change that for demonstration purposes. I'm just going to go to my members, and I'm going to go to that account that I just set up and change it to view. Then I'm going to go back to my document, and I'm going to go to share. I'm going to say who has access to this document. So I can go to my team. So I have comment here. So this Tara Taylor has she got a lower setting, but I can bump her up. So I can let her edit something now, but I can't take anybody's rights away. So just so you think about that when you create your team drive, just something to think about. Not to, as long as you're only inviting trusting people to your team drive that you want to be able to do things, and that's how it's being used. Then just something to be aware of in that space. So this is a question that was asked recently, and I just wanted to show you guys how to do it, and I should add this to the presentation. So if I want to share something externally, so you want to push a document out so others can see it. We're not inviting external people into our team drive where they can add information and such, but we just want to share information. So when I clicked share there, and I said who has access, link sharing, if we want to push that link, if we want to share that with people, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn link sharing on. Once you turn link sharing on, you're going to see these little pop-up boxes that aren't there before, so it's a little bit of a confusing in the design, but I'm going to say allow external access. And I have can view. So now when I send this link out, people can view it. So this is the setting if you just have a document that you want to send out, which helps with if you're sending a huge document, instead of including the entire document in the email, you can just link to it. Which brings me to something that I don't usually talk about on the presentation, but let me just show you. I just want to mention it here. As we kind of progress in our users using it, I'm finding tools that are really beneficial. FireNet it's an enterprise platform, so it does more things than your free Google accounts are going to do. So some of these things like Team Drive and other functions there's some handy tricks that will hopefully make your job easier. So here I am in Team Drive, and I just right-clicked on this, and there's something called we can see different versions here, and so there's different version histories where I can upload a new version. Now I'm looking for it. It might have to be on a PDF. Let me just jump into one more Team Drive. So this came in useful with if you have an IEP, for example, and you want the link to stay the same. So this was one that I was testing with Plan Section Chief, and so this was the name of the IEP, and when a new one was created, he named it the same thing. And then if you right-click on that PDF, I can say Manage Version. So you can upload a new version. So essentially, this this link, I just right-click to get my shareable link. Somebody could refresh on this link every morning, and if you used version history and just updated a new version of the document, then every morning the new IAP is just going to be on that link. So it's just it's a way that you can have to send less out if you find a main link to share information on. And in this example, he did password protect it in Adobe. So and it works fine even when he, as long as he named the account, had a main name for each new report that was created. If he named it that name, then it works in your version history. So just something that could be handy depending on your space, and kind of if you're in all different areas, if it helps you to have a link that you update, one link, instead of constantly sharing that information. Just a little cool tool in Drive. So that is Drive, and we're going to talk a little bit about contributor accounts. So let's see in my, let's see here and go to, I think Testing Team Drive has it. So if you're creating a team drive and you have people that you, in your center, so you've got some contributor accounts in your center, you want to make sure they have folders to work in. A folder to work in with a bunch of blank documents. And that sounds confusing, but I just wanted to show you why. So FireNet accounts cost money, and there's a way to collaborate with people that already have Bison Connect accounts, so we don't have to duplicate those accounts. So if I come to my Bison Connect account now, and I'm going to go to Drive. Now, normally I wouldn't see Team Drive here because Bison Connect doesn't have it, but I've been invited to Team Drive, so I have it. And I can jump into a testing Team Drive and hit New, but I can't create things because Bison Connect has some security set up where I can't create things for my Bison Connect account. So the way that it can work for me is this templates for contributor accounts. So there's a video on the website that walks you through this in the dispatch center area and the contributor account page, where you just want to create a bunch of blank documents where some of your contributors can jump in. So if I'm coming in here as a contributor, I can have a whole, you just copy, highlight, and then right click and copy. And then the person doesn't even have to choose where to put it. It's automatically going to be somewhere within the Team Drive. So that's our workaround for getting some of our collaborators into the system. And if they just need to get into a log to add data, that type of thing, if they're going to be working in documents that are already created even, it works perfectly. But this workaround helps, and I'll make sure I show you the link on the website if you need any help in setting this up. All right, let's do a little time check here. Okay, we're about halfway through, so we'll try to talk for less than 15 more minutes so we can have plenty of time for questions. So we talked about Drive. Let's see if there's anything else that I really want to highlight. I guess forms and sites, we'll just do a quick visit, just to show you how easy Google is. So don't feel overwhelmed about being able to be strong in IT or anything like that. I just clicked New. I just said I wanted to do a new form, so I clicked the plus button. There's also some different templates up here. So if you want to grab some different templates, you can find one that's already set up. I'm going to say blank. I should really grab one that do all these demos, and then I end up with all these forms. So here's a document that I created. Yes, I love this webinar. So to add a question, I'm just going to click the plus button. Super easy, question added. You can choose if you want it to be short answer, paragraph, checkboxes, drop down, file upload. You can do different things here. Linear scale, so if you want to do 1 to 10, if a question's a date, it's pretty smart. So if you put in some things, like if I say date, see, it just picked up that format automatically. Cool, right? And then I just do plus. And then you can just go back and edit. Your responses are going to be in 2 places. So if somebody has responded, I'm going to see the list of email addresses here of the people who responded. If I click on that email, their actual form is going to come up. So if you need to save something as a PDF, that will come up. But what we also have is you can view your responses in a spreadsheet. So all the answers are going to be in your spreadsheet. We found this to be a super useful tool for the community. I just wanted to show you that this is here. Similar to the dragging and kind of the drag and drop and click, Google Sites is very similar. Let me just go over here. I'm just going to go to Site in my little drop down. And you'll see, I'm not sure if you saw that, but I was trying to switch to the FireNet web admin account there, and it bounced me back to this, to my FireNet account, my named FireNet account, because it's decided that's my default. So as you see, I have different pictures here depending what account I'm logged into. So I know if I'm in an admin account or if I'm in my DOI account or if I'm in FireNet. So I kind of pick up on that easily. Because you don't want to create a document in the wrong place, because depending what the wrong place is, it can be hard to move to where you need it. So I'm going to go to Site. I have a cute. So I'm going to go to New Google Site. So this is the screen that you would see, and it would be blank if you're just starting out, but New Google Site is the preferred use now, because eventually Classic is going to go away. So if we can get you working in New Google Site, then you won't have to change things over. So I'm going to click New Google Site. I like to use this example. This is what my big guy looks like, that's thankfully being quiet right now. He actually swam yesterday for the first time. He's 5.5. He actually got in on his own. He knows how to swim, but he's scared. And he paddled for 11 seconds. So with Sites, if I want to add a text box, I can just say add a text box. I want to add an image, I can add an image. I can add it from my album. I could search for things. One thing that we want to focus on in Sites, and this is the last app that I'm going to review but before moving on, we want to focus on 2 things. One, is it public? And if you publish this to public setting, it needs to be 508 compliant, and it can't contain PII information. So for the compliance part, and you'll get, if you create a public facing site, you're going to get an email that says, hey, your site's public facing. Do you understand 508 compliance and PII? Here's some links to help you out. One main thing that you can do is to go ahead and set your alt text on your images. So if somebody's reading this, or listening to this website with a screen reader, I can go to add alt text, and I'm going to write what's in the picture. So you can add a description of what the person would be seeing in that picture. And that's a huge start for if you're creating a website. Do it now, because then you don't have to go, if there's some type of check and it's not compliant, you don't have to go back and do it. So go ahead and set your alt text now. And then when we go to publish, who can view my site? So you can publish, anyone can find it, the owner, so I can change. So I only want specific people to view this. So then I just changed it. So if this is anyone can find and view the published version, that's where you're going to want to get that note that says, hey, you need to be compliant. All right, let's jump out of our applications and jump back into our presentation. So account types. So there's kind of 3 different account types, and we've talked about the contributor account. So that's us trying to get our Bison Connect users in. And then there's named accounts, enrolled accounts. And depending on your area of focus, you may see some of these. So named account is just your first name and your last name. And a role account might be the 5 letters of your dispatch center at firenet.gov, for example. Or it might be the 5-letter of your dispatch center _ expanded at firenet.gov. Or it could be a position on an incident. So there's certain role-based accounts. There's about 5 role-based accounts that will be generated on an incident that those email accounts can then be passed to the next folks that come on to the incident. So these are different examples of accounts, but they essentially do the same thing, but they're set up differently, just based on who they're for. And the role-based accounts are, you're kind of recycling through them. So if a center has an expanded role-based account, then different people, as long as they filled out the form and the security training, can be cycled through that role-based account. Talk about that. One thing, we're going to jump into kind of the season and what things look like for the dispatch centers and incident setup. We've talked about the delegation. So groups can also be used, and this will be important for our PIOs, and I've added a page that we'll visit. Let's go ahead and jump over there. I'm just trying to fit everything in with some new added information. So I'm going to go to information here. Hopefully everybody's still with us. This is if you're not with us, then, oh, someone said cute, they like my dog. that one on the bottom, I fostered a 5-month-old Saint Bernard. He was 75 pounds. He was so big. We only had him for a week. Okay, so we are over here, and I'm under information. So just a reminder, because you're gonna want to get here. So you go to firenet.gov. We jump in the FireNet portal, and we're just gonna go to information. And this is where dispatch center account setup and incident account setup are. So dispatch center account setup, just a little background. When we really started, we got approved, our authority to operate was approved. By the time we got to GACS to say, hey, this is this awesome thing that we have and we're ready to go with it, it had gotten close to the start of the fire season. So some GACS were less interested in kind of really getting going, and some were like, let's do it, let's change our Gmail accounts over. So depending where you fall, you may fall into one group or the other, but we do have GACS and dispatch centers kind of everywhere now being set up. And this is the process that you'll follow. So there'll be a spreadsheet that you're given, and if there's an email on his firenet_admin@firenet.gov. If you're a center manager and you don't have that spreadsheet started, which basically in that spreadsheet you just say, these are my dispatchers, and these are my expanded people, and then we can start to track, that we want them to fill out the access form to start, and an account can be generated. And then if they're an affiliate, we can have them fill out the online security training, and they need to have your sponsorship for that. And then next would be your account would be generated. You make sure that there's a steward for that. You can delegate that inbox if you want. And next we'd be working into the expanding your dispatch center. So making sure if you've got 3 ADs that you know are going to be in your expanded dispatch center, let's go ahead now, have them fill out the form, have them do their security training, and then they can get going in the system. On this dispatch page, we also have delegating an inbox. So it walks you through a great video, walks you through how to delegate the inbox to different people. So whether dispatch centers, whether that's your center inbox or it's your expanded inbox. So that's a super quick review. FireNet_admin@firenet.gov if you haven't started this process yet and are looking to. And then I'll just go back. And I'm going to go to Incident Account Setup and try to go through this quickly. So this is if you're on an incident and you see the main account being used as a Gmail account, we want to move this to a FireNet account. So if hopefully you're on an incident early on and maybe an account hasn't even been created. So you're just going to jump to this page and you're going to go to Incident Account Naming Standard. You're going to go to Incident Account FireNet Request Form and you're going to fill out this information. When you fill out this information, let me just jump to, when you fill out this information, a few things are going to happen. The email account is going to be created. It's going to be sent to your lead PIO, which is noted in the form, to authenticate to this account, and then they can delegate it out, and a team drive is going to be created for the incident. In that team drive, there's going to be a roster. So if you have additional account needs, you're going to highlight those in the roster and fill in the blanks for any positions that are going to get role-based accounts. Based on the people that are filling out, when the form is filled out, we're going to have ITSS, plan section sheets, and PIO information. So those guys can kind of work in that team drive space, and then they can add others. The role-based accounts will be automatically added, and then any other accounts that are needed will be added to that team drive in case it's a space that you wish to collaborate. Oops, I just closed my page I wanted. Just want to finish walking through that page. There is a video if you're having trouble finding your team drive, if it's been shared to you. I think we've covered that today. We would go to the little boxes on the top and go to drop team drive, and you would find your team drive there. Troubleshooting incident-related issues are on here, and we've talked about all these things, signing you off, Xing. One thing we've added down here is a question I get from my PIOs on sending data and limits. So these links here on this page will walk you through that. We don't have enough time to review it today. But just talking about, this is the bit where groups come in handy. So either the limit on sending emails out or the number of people that they go to, but if you create a group and those groups can be bigger than they can in free accounts, you can kind of getting around that by putting your contact folks into groups. All right, so let's jump here. Just reminders from FireNet admin, FireNet's for Fire Business, and we talked about that Better Cloud link. So we've got the online education, the training series. If you would like to be added to the virtual workshop, go ahead and shoot me an email at firenetwebadmin@firenet.gov, and I think that's going to be next Thursday, so I'll start to get that. We've had one, and I'll start to get that hopefully ramped up this afternoon or tomorrow so you can get that on your calendar, but it'll probably be this time next Thursday. And then FireNet support, FireNet_support@firenet.gov if you need assistance. And then we actually have a training after this, getting our ITSSs set up in the system to help support as well. So your ITSS is kind of going to be your first go-to to assist you here. All right, let's open it up to some questions. Let's see here. Do we set up account under our team name or individually? Individually, you just want to go ahead and you would request it as yourself, and then just go ahead and start a team drive. So if somebody hasn't already created a team drive, so get the people you need to collaborate set up with FireNet accounts, and then you collaborate in the team drive. And we're going to test how that works for IMTs. What if you need to delegate more than just, we talked about that. And delegating the calendar, you can, there's something called resource calendars, and then there's a shared calendar. I'll have to follow up on that one as far as there's going to be I think a resource calendar is going to be something that you'll need an admin to get set up for you. But one person would only be able to access that main calendar. It looks like you can access Team Drive from Bison Connect account directly. Is it better to access it that way or switch over to your FireNet account? So you have to kind of, it depends. So whoever it's shared with is good, and you can go in and do the same exact things if you're just collaborating on a document. So you're going in to work on a document that's already there. It doesn't matter which account you're logged into. If you need to add a new document, you're going to do it one method in your FireNet account, and as long as there's that blank folder for you that's been created by the person who created your Team Drive, you can just go grab a new document that way. But FireNet will be easier to work with. How about sharing with a personal Gmail account? So we're not looking to invite personal Gmail accounts in. So I talked about where you can click the sharing link so somebody can view it, and you can push that out, and that's how we would want to share information out. When I create a Team Drive from my FireNet, why can't I see it in my FireNet, but I can see it in my Bison Connect account? So if you created the Team Drive and you're in the Team Drive, you would have to see it in your FireNet account. So I would just go ahead and do a check. So if I go here and I go to Drive in Team Drive, if you're logged into your FireNet account by doing a checkup here and you created the Team Drive, then you will see it here. If you need to email me so we can jump on and troubleshoot that, but I've never run into the case where I didn't see it if you were part of that Team Drive. Just scrolling down in my questions here. What if you're the lead PIO who is an AD with Forest Service? So lead PIO who's an AD with Forest Service, you would, depending if you set up, say if that's not you, but you haven't, this person's on your team and they haven't been set up. First, they're going to come to our requesting a FireNet account page, and they're going to say, I do not have a PIV card. They're going to first fill out the FireNet access form. Second, complete the online security training. Then they need a sponsor. So they're going to affiliate sponsor page. You're going to send this link to a federal person that can be their sponsor and say, hey, this person is my PIO and I need them to have a FireNet account. There's sample little blurbs on here that you can just cut and paste. And so when they forward that cert, just go ahead and it just says the business and mission need of the account. People's cell phones often don't have service on incidents. They end up having to check out temp phones. Will this affect two-step factor? So for that first question, if this might be you, there's actually there's some backup codes. So if you go to two-step verification, you can just go to, once you're logged into your FireNet account, you can go to Google two-step verification. There are some backup codes that you can use. So if you think this might be you before an incident, it'd be good to have those backup codes on hand. Second would be, this is somewhere where our ITSSs are going to be able to help us out. We're working on designing that support model right now, but there will be somebody that that you can call to get a backup code to get you into your account if you run into no cell service. Okay to maintain a Team Drive between incidents for an IMT. So the goal is, so a Team Drive will be created, and then as the teams transition, the access to the Team Drive would change. So the new team would have access to the Team Drive, and then eventually the first team would be rolled off. Unless there's a need to stay on, in which somebody can just say, can you please keep me on this drive? I'm still working on it. Are you saying people with Bison Connect accounts don't need named accounts? Will there be a FireNet tech specialist available to help teams get up and running as they transition to FireNet? So the goal is that our ITSSs are going to be our go-to people, and they will be able to assist you. For the Bison Connect account, so right now, so if we had an incident right now and I have a team drive, I can add an NPS VLM person to that team drive. So it's actually easy to be added. If you're on that incident and you want to be involved and work in that team drive, and but you don't have a FireNet account, I can add you. So by default, we are creating a contributor folder, so there would be some documents in there for you to use. But the answer is, if somebody just needs to collaborate, yes, their Bison Connect account is going to work fine. If they need to add new documents, there just needs to be a folder of templates for them to go ahead and they just rename that document and use it as their own. And let me just show you where the page is on contributor accounts, and there's some videos on there as well. I'm going to come here. So I'm on my FireNet, and I'm going to go to here. I've got my types of accounts. When I request an account, and it's kind of like, do you have a PIV card or not? I'm going to go to my FireNet account. And this is, I think this will be pulled out within this requesting an account. Account types will be pulled out, so you'll just be able to find it in that drop down. And then there's a page on contributor accounts, so you can learn what is a contributor account, how to create a team drive accessible to contributors. So these are probably 4 minutes worth of videos, and you won't be confused about contributor accounts anymore. So go ahead and check that out. Do you have to go through this presentation before you get your account information sent to you? No, you don't. Is this presentation available online for review? I'm hoping this one, actually, because the dog did not bark. I'm going to use this video and I will get it up online. As a steward of my dispatch center account, do I need to apply for an individual account in my name? Great question. It depends. So if you are the center manager and you just wanted to work from if you didn't see a need to have your own account, you could work from that main account. Most of our center managers have a named account as well. But with Team Drive, essentially, if you did that, you would just be working from that main email address. But everything else would be the same. So, when a Team Drive is shared, it doesn't matter if it's shared with the center account or your individual account. So that one's kind of up to you. If you want or feel like you need the named account to communicate from, or if you would just use the dispatch account. Other people may be delegated in to your center account, so it depends if it does show who the person sending the email is from that delegated account, but that would just be something to take into consideration. Okay, we already answered how will the two-step verification work with no cell service. Is there a respond by email choice? No, so your backup would be to print those codes, and then if that doesn't happen, you could take a picture of it, and then your ITSS would be your assistance there. Is there a search function to see a team drive that has been created? I don't think we have, as our plan section chief is not a FireNet yet. I just said I'm emailed it. So you'll only see it. You'll see it if you've been added, but you can't actually search for a team drive because they are private for the team. But that is a great question. Is there NWC direction that is mandating this use? If so, can you locate it? I can send you the charter. So if you go ahead and email me here, FireNet Web Admin under here, I can send you the charter. We may put the charter up on the under the business documentation because we do get that question. What about FireNet email? In Gmail, we would name them the fire name or unit. Example, So the Fire name is based on, I'm just going to go to incident account setup here. Let me just move my questions out of the way a little bit. So under the incident email request process, where that form was, there's also something here called incident account naming standards. And the naming convention follows the standard development and is endorsed by the WF community. So this just talks about what the email address will look like. So it's calendar year, unit identifier, and incident name. But when somebody gets it in their inbox, for these examples, they just see like Bobcat Fire or Dragon Complex. They don't see the longer email name because the actual account, this is the name of the actual account, so that's what they'll see there. You can find that on the site. No, that was a good question. How long does it take to get an AD registered and have access to FireNet? So the sooner that process gets in, the better. You know, we do have this situation on an incident where we need some type of emergency account because somebody needs access and they haven't done that, but we're looking to get that, to have that not happen very often, and we need that to happen sooner. So right now there's probably about a week turnaround, but if there's a need, you know, if there's fires in the Southwest, then we kind of put a speedy press on it and can get those turned around quicker if somebody's on an incident. Team drive for team business, independent of incident. I don't think that question ended. You do need to have a FireNet account to access the shared email, yes. You will have, so the question is, sometimes we like to keep access to drive for teaching off season. Are you saying we can't have access to certain drives year round if we need it? So I guess the answer is no, because once an incident is over, we wouldn't want somebody going in and changing that data that's in there once that's completed. So you wouldn't always have access to that incident drive. So I'm not sure if you needed access back, if you would just request it and then for your teaching points, but right now that's how it's set up. How often do passwords expire? Great question. Every 3 months they expire. Our team has several Gmail accounts by section that we carry independent of incidents. Can we replace them with FireNet? Yes, so we're just figuring out the need there. The first thing that I encourage you to do is set up team drives. So set up team drives by section and get those individuals set up with FireNet accounts. And we're finding that there's that collaboration space actually happens in team drives, and then people have the independent. They're just their individual email accounts. So to start there and then see how that works. I think that's all our questions and only 3 minutes over. Thank you so much for joining me today. Let me just pull up my email address here. If you'd like to join the virtual workshop next week, so it's a little more actually working and sharing a file and working in a team drive, then go ahead, FireNet webadmin at firenet.gov. Just send me a note that says, hey, I'd love to see the virtual workshop. And hopefully this presentation will be transferred into the correct format and on our website. So if you want to direct somebody this way to learn more about FireNet, I hope you have a wonderful day.